Warning, this podcast was produced by two men who still think that swearing is both big and clever. As a result, it contains quite a lot of it. Therefore, this podcast is not suitable for children, unless they're really fucking cool children. Yes, people, Dave Fensom here with another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. Hope you guys are doing well. We certainly are. Thank you so much for all your feedback on last week's episode on Automatic for the People. If you're new to the podcast, off the back of the REM, slightly different tone to this week's one. We're talking about Prince's Love Symbol album. It's a lot less serious than last week's one. This is kind of a bit more full of dick jokes, like we normally go. I hope you're not disappointed, really. There's no one's putting any emotions on the line at all here, really. It's just a load of shit about Prince's record. Normally, before we record, I would put out something on Twitter, ask people to get in contact, let us know their thoughts. We didn't do that on time for this one because the recording came up on us quite quickly. So I put it out today, so it's going to include a couple of people's thoughts in this intro here. It's going to be a little bit difficult because I can't comment on whether we agree or not because I don't want to do spoilers for the episode ahead, but I'll read a couple out and you can kind of see what you think anyway. So first of all, I Will Die Before You on Twitter got in contact. Sexy motherfucker, what a track. Features an amazing Levi Cesar Jr. guitar solo, and how many songs have the word motherfucker in them so many times? Not motherfucking many, I'll wager. Rest of the album, well, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, apart from the bit about the word motherfucker in songs, because I listen to a lot of gangster rap in the 90s and that's pretty much every word in that genre. But yeah, thanks for getting in contact, really appreciate it. Next up, friend of the show, Miss Disorderly. This is the last record I got at the time of release. I thought it was okay, but the quality control was suffering from so much output. I thought it was better that we break up as friends, if you see what I mean. In the back catalogue I've been doing since no gigs, I've found some pretty good Prince records, but I still feel like I made the right decision. Bought it home on vinyl, played it like, okay, sexy motherfucker, my name is Prince, 7, damn you good, the rest, middling. Really want to comment on that, but I can't. Martin Young, not the first record where Prince finally softens his resistance and embraces hip-hop. That was Diamonds and Pearls, but the one where he does it best. A really underrated and fascinating record. 7 is in his all-time top 10 songs. Again, really want to comment on that, Martin Young. I really want to tell you what I think. The one thing I will say is saying that he embraced hip-hop on Diamonds and Pearls suggests that you say this is a better record than Diamonds and Pearls, and you are not accurate in that regard, and that is the most spoilers I can give. But then again, I do particularly love Diamonds and Pearls. What else we have? Highly underrated album from the Herd Collective on Twitter here. 7 is the bomb. Prince is a bit creepy in the interview bits. I mean, Prince, there's a lot of problems with Prince being creepy related to this record that we'll get into in the podcast. Certainly not limited to the content of the record. However, you know, we're going into this. I'm a massive Prince fan. Krister is not a massive Prince fan, likes the hits. So we're going to have it. We're certainly coming at it from different perspectives. I hope you enjoy it though, man. I think we had a blast recording it. I mean, there's some outtakes in here that you're not going to hear that we really had to cut out. But yeah, like I say, if you're new to us and the podcast, we really love it when you guys get in touch. Let us know what you think. We will be back again probably in 2 weeks. I think that we're on a 2-weekly schedule at the minute. But yeah, thank you for listening. As always, guys, we'll catch you next time. Yes, people, it's Dave Fensom here with another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Krister Greer.
Hello, everybody.
And Mr. Waffles Dog is, he's just left the room, actually.
Yeah,
he's about, though. We've got Spooky the Cat in here, who is not a co-host, but will probably get rid of some of the allegations of misogyny that I'm sure are being thrown about left, right and centre in this troubling age of ours.
Quite yours. You'll probably hear a loud purring at some points because she's just very happy.
Yeah, she's a very lovely cat. Hello, Spooky Cat. Right, so thank you so much for all the feedback on last week's episode, the REM episode. That was, we were interested putting that one out, and the response was really kind of...
It was lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely, man. A lot of people got in contact, like personally, via message, by DM and email. We're still coming back to a few people on those ones, so if you have messages and we haven't replied, I apologise, just very, very busy at this moment, but everything's been read and we really, really appreciate everything that you sent through. It was really nice. And yeah, we're back this week to talk about Prince's Love Symbol record, right?
Yes, I suspect this isn't going to be quite as deep a conversation as we
you
had
never
last
know,
time.
man.
Well, I don't know your relationship with this album, that's very true, but there's a lot to get through in this one. This is a big old album.
Well, this is, this is Prince's 14th studio album.
Yes.
And I'd say at this point, he had probably proved anything he needed to prove, and there wasn't anyone on the planet that was going to tell him to edit himself.
No, well, that's an impossibility with Prince, but the whole thing about him getting pissed off with the record label in the following years after this was them telling him, look, would you mind slowing down, not putting so much music in front of us, because we cannot keep up with this sort of release schedule?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why he got annoyed and did the whole name change thing.
Yeah.
But it is definitely, it's a testament to his profligacy that this is another ridiculously long album immediately almost after Diamonds and Pearls.
And let's not forget as well that recorded by and large whilst on one of the biggest world tours he ever took place
The
in.
Diamond and Pearls tour, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned here before, I was at the Diamonds and Pearls tour. I was at one of the Earl's Court gigs, one of the first gigs I ever went to, and he was playing songs from this.
He was already bringing in the set. The man was a force of songwriting.
Yeah.
I am definitely on the side of thinking that everyone could do with some editing, and Prince definitely could do with some editing. Whenever we went through that Graffiti Bridge album, there were definitely times when I was thinking someone should have said, don't do this one, maybe skip that. And like you say, it was impossible for anyone to do that to him because he didn't care what people thought.
Well, who knows, Krister? Maybe this is going to be a succinct 18-track, hour and 15 minutes of pure, unalloyed genius.
Absolutely. Everyone a banger. We can but hope. Right, so yeah, in terms of where we are in the year, we're getting towards the end of 1992 now. This was number one for 1 week from the 11th of October. Right. So the week after REM, REM was only number one for 1 week. This took over, but only for 1 week before there were 3 weeks afterwards of Simple Minds' greatest hits being number one. But it means that brings us, kind of into November 92, right towards the end of the year. And like you said, it was the 14th studio album. It was his second one with the New Power Generation as his backing band.
Yep.
Which, I admit, at the time, I wasn't even aware that was a big deal. I didn't realise that this was a big thing amongst Prince fans, that he'd got different bands. Yeah,
that Losing the Revolution, that he'd recorded all of the classic albums with, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a testament to changing sounds and changing moods, I think, at the time. But this was actually the last record he recorded that's co-credited to a band until, for a few years later, when he put out a live album.
Oh, is that right?
With New Power Generation. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Everything subsequent to this was basically just put out as Prince or as Love Symbol.
The artist formerly known as, etc.
Whatever.
Right, I see. I didn't realise that either. Okay, so this is almost their last big...
Yeah, the New Power Generation were a live presence for a long time anyway.
Sure.
But, but to be honest with you, when you look at the writing credits on this album, sharing credits with anyone really was a little bit of a, was a nice thing to do rather than something he had to do.
This album, like we said, was only released a couple of years after Diamonds and Pearls. Diamonds and Pearls didn't get to number one in the UK, which is why we didn't cover it.
No.
But this did, but it is definitely the case that Diamonds and Pearls was the bigger album of these two.
Yes.
This didn't sell as well. It still sold well, but Diamonds and Pearls was huge. Diamonds and Pearls went triple platinum in the UK, double platinum in the States. This one, it only went 1 times platinum in the UK, and it didn't even reach platinum in the States.
Oh, okay.
So it was a much lower selling album, but that's partly also because of what it is as an album. The whole concept of the thing is a bit strange. It's not just, here's a pop album. Prince as well has taken it upon himself to write a soundtrack for a film that he wanted to release, and this is that soundtrack. It is a rock opera. Yep. Essentially. The story that we're going to be going through is that an Egyptian princess falls in love with a rock star, Prince, entrusts him with a religious artifact, which is the 3 Chains of Turin, also known as the 3 Chains of Gold. And during her escape from 7 assassins, she gives that to him. And then it's all totally normal.
Yeah.
And then Prince decides that he's going to take revenge on those assassins and kill them.
Yeah.
And so it's this adventure story. Who wouldn't think that was perfect fodder for a pop album?
Presumably you've seen the original Evening with Kevin Smith, where he tells his Prince story.
I have, yes.
Where this is prime. Prince lives in Prince world. No one tells Prince things are a bad idea.
No.
It is what it is. I mean, he's basically, the Donald Trump of music. And fucking God strike me down for having said such a horrible thing about fucking Prince.
Yeah, my God, that is the worst
men.
thing you could say.
Yeah, so...
have you seen there isn't really a final version of the film. It was released on a straight-to-video thing in 1994, but it's essentially just a lot of the pop videos that he made for this album, interspersed with a couple of little bits in between. Have you watched it all the way through?
I never watched it. The thing is, right, for as much of a Prince fan as I am by no means an obsessive completist when it comes to Prince, because there is too much to digest.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Where I stand on Prince is everything up to this point. All of those albums I pretty much love in some way, and
up to and including Diamonds and Pearls.
Yeah, and this marks the start of the chunk of Prince stuff that I'm not as familiar with, because just by virtue of when this record came out, it marks a big transition in my life. It marks me leaving school, going to college, and as we've discussed ad infinitum in this podcast, there is a lot going on musically at this time.
The seismic changes in the music world, yes.
And so before this record came out, the idea that I wouldn't buy it was pretty much unthinkable. But I never bought it.
I was going to say, did you? You didn't at the time,
and,
right?
And when I went into this record, I was fairly sure I had it on tape, listened to it a few times, and wasn't really that into it at the time. Going back into it, I'm like, there's a lot of stuff on here. I'm like, I'm not sure I ever heard this.
Oh, right. So entirely possible this did pass you by.
I've gone into this as a fresh record.
Okay.
Pretty much. So I have probably with the exception of some of the singles, I have no more of a relationship with this record than you do.
Oh, I see. Right, because I've never heard this album before at all. At the time, I didn't give a shit about Prince. I remember some of the singles and thinking, not for me. So I didn't investigate any further at all. But it's not like I had any past with Prince like you did that would even make me think maybe I should, for old time's sake.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I just skipped past this entirely. The only other thing I want to kind of get into before we kick off is one of the people involved with this record is a woman called, and I think it's going to be called Mate Garcia. It's Mayte.
I think that's Maite.
Maite Garcia.
Yeah.
I don't.
Very possible. I'm going to fucking Google a pronunciation.
You do that. So at this point in 1992 was part of the new Power generation. She went on to marry Prince. They were married for about 4 years. However, there is a bit of a weird... The backstory of how she got into his life is a bit strange and comes up a few times in this. So I just want to lay down... This is what I've read on basically Wikipedia and various articles. In 1990, she was living in Germany because her dad was in the army. She was born in America, and then they were in Germany in 1990. There was a Prince gig going on in 1990, and Matey was a dancer. She was doing ballet and stuff like that. She was doing belly dancing. And her mum passed one of Prince's entourage at this gig a video of Matey's dancing.
Maite we're going with.
Maite? Yeah. Maite's dancing. And apparently within 10 minutes of him receiving this video, he invited Maite backstage at this gig. At this point, she's 16, right?
Yeah.
And her mum has given her the tape and ushered her in to go backstage with Prince. So far, okay. And then they kept in touch after this. When she graduated her German high school age 17, Prince became her legal guardian.
Right.
She moved over back to America from Germany. He set her up with a house.
Yeah.
When she turned 18, she was invited to join the new Power generation. And when she was 19, and then this is the quote, when she was 19, Prince instructed her to get on birth control, thus beginning their sexual relationship.
Nice.
And then they married in 1996, divorced in 2000. But essentially, that sounds like a grooming story.
Without a doubt, it does. This is not a good story.
It's not nice at all.
And there's a lot of lyrical mentions towards this as we go through the record.
Indeed, that's what made me think. I wonder, what all this is about.
But you know who she ended up with after this? Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Yes, yeah. Well, two larger than life characters there. Anyway, yeah, well, that will definitely come up. I think. Are you
talking about Tommy Lee and Tommy Lee's penis?
Honk.
Literally, if you've seen the video,
Yeah.
honk. That scared me. That is, when I saw that video, when I saw that Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee video, I had no idea penises got that big. It was kind of pre-big internet, wasn't it?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I've seen much bigger penises now, but fuck me, I was like,
Tommy, wow.
I had a conversation with myself. It's like, hang on a minute, which one of us is normal?
You're right. Mate, I think if you're ever going to compare Tommy Lee to normal on any particular facet, he's never going to be normal.
No, that is true. Okay, so we always start off with the album cover.
Okay, yes.
The album is kind of unnamed, really, because it's called. It's known as Love Symbol, but it's an unpronounceable symbol, which would be the symbol that Prince would adopt as his name whilst he was being mental and trolling Warner. I mean, it's basically a still from the Seven video, essentially, isn't it?
It is. It's a still from that, and then the symbol itself, which is an amalgamation of the classic male and female symbols over each other.
Yeah.
Almost in the shape of a cross as well.
We mentioned in the Graffiti Bridge podcast, didn't we? He had the earring in the Graffiti Bridge movie, which I watched, so you didn't fucking have to.
Glad.
So yeah, okay, it's not a great album cover, I don't think.
No. To be honest, I think it would have been better if it had just been the symbol over almost like a blank canvas.
Yeah, and that's what if you look at the versions of it that came out, which had the slipcase, that's what it was.
Was it?
Purple background, gold symbol, and it's a better looking record. But yeah. It's fine, but it's not a great album cover.
No, it's not. Obviously, this was the first time that he had really pushed that symbol as part of his branding. He would, like you say, he became that as a name, as a moniker, and the record company had to send out floppy disks with that on it so that people could print it in their papers. But it wasn't at this point. It wasn't him going, "This is me now."
Yeah,
that was a year later. This was just a thing for his album that he's calling his album. But, yeah, it's okay.
I kind of do like the chutzpah of making people fucking jump through hoops so they can cover him. We're being being on the other end of the spectrum from I used to have to beg you to cover me, and now I'm gonna do this shit, and you're gonna have to run around after me.
Yeah, that sounds like Prince all over, really.
Yeah, well, there you go. Certainly this era of Prince.
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna have to march through some of this because it's 18 tracks, and we don't. Yeah, I mean, we can't have a kind of a 3 terabyte download on this podcast.
God, no. Good Lord. No, there are some that we're going to have a lot less to say about than others, so we'll crack through.
Okay, so track 1.
Right, opening track, My Name is Prince. And this was the second single from the album. It was released just before the album release.
Yep.
And it got to number 7. I remember this coming out, but I remember it in a kind of a don't give a shit way.
Look, man, that is a slapping banger straight away.
This is a good, I like this beat. This is really full on in your face. Yes, just bam, bam, bam.
Right. That is a great beat. It's straight in. There are some problems with this song, right? There's some terrible lyrics in this song.
Yeah.
Right, and there is a rap which dates it incredibly.
Yes.
And there's elements in this track here. You can the thing that it draws the most comparison to is that Teddy Riley produced Michael Jackson album that we talked about.
Oh, of course, yeah, sure. All right, yeah.
And there's a big rap in the middle of it, which is Tony. What's his
Tony
name?
M.
Tony M. Yeah, Tony M. is a member of the New Power Generation. He's kind of the rapper, and it's it's that kind of syncopated, very, very fast syncopated style that was kind of fairly popular around that New Jack Swing era. It's got a bit of that heavy D kind of sound to it.
Yeah.
And
like at the time when this song came out, you know, I was already at the point when I thought that shit was a bit played out and a bit whack.
Yeah?
You know, but man, I'm listening to NWA and I'm listening to Public Enemy, listening to kind of stuff that's been inspired by Rakim, and that stuff is
it's different.
You know, it's not the kind of the deep flow. It's just
no, you're absolutely right. It isn't. It's not any of those things. But on the listen to this, I got to the rap. It's like 4 minutes into the song, and I got to the rap and I was like, you know, I thought this would be much worse. I thought this was all right.
Oh, it's technically very proficient.
Yeah.
Right? And I like it. I like it more in retrospect than I did at the time. At the time, I thought it was straight up fucking whack.
Yeah.
And like in retrospect, I'm like, okay, it does anchor it in a certain time point in a way that,
indeed,
you know, even some of Prince's most 80s output is a bit more timeless.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, even like Purple Rain, which is such an archetypally 80s song, it's still more timeless than this song because of the rap.
And the production. I mean, this sounds like an early 90s swing beat tune with a bit of balls behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it really does. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it completely dates it to that time period. It's a capsule.
But I think this is a great mid-era Prince single. It's, you know, I'd want to hear this live. I danced when it comes on. I'm fucking grooving. I'm having a good time.
Right, sure.
This is what I want from this era of Prince music.
If you'd said to me 10 or 15 years ago, My Name is Prince is a good Prince single, I think I would have told you, don't be a dickhead. You're talking about your arts. When you look at good Prince singles, you're looking at the big classics, and that is just something totally different. Because I would have been... I hadn't heard it in years, and I'd have been a bit snotty about it.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, yes, this is good. It's not a great Prince single in comparison. If you put it in, you know, right, here's your top tier shit.
Yeah.
But as a good single, it's a lot of fun.
If you've spent your entire life eating at Michelin star restaurants, okay, your top 10 meals are, you know, going to be ridiculous £500 meals, right? But it doesn't mean a KFC bargain bucket is not a good meal.
No,
you're
absolutely right.
This is not the ultimate era of Prince. Okay,
No.
We have to accept that going straight into it. But in terms of what he's doing, bearing in mind as well, you know, we haven't even mentioned that, as with a lot of Prince stuff, he's played pretty much nearly every instrument on this fucking record.
Yeah,
you know, the stuff that other people are doing is really, you know, kind of for live, or, you know, things like kind of like baritone saxes and things like that.
Indeed.
You know?
Tell me this as well, because I don't know Diamonds and Pearls.
Yeah.
Had he already started down this kind of path? Because this is a big hip hop beat, and there's a rap in it.
Yeah,
Had he started doing that in the previous album?
Yeah, there's bits and pieces that allude to that.
So it's not his first foray into hip hop stuff.
No, I mean he's all over all kinds of genres. Throughout.
Yeah,
but
I know Get Off. Obviously.
I mean, obviously there's you know, like the last record, which was Graffiti Bridge. There are there are a number of bits like that.
There's definitely some. Who's the little kid rapper they had on?
That was
Kevin something. Campbell.
Campbell, yeah.
Right. So to me, that definitely had the big swing beat stuff going on in Graffiti Bridge. This is, for me, this is him trying to be a bit more upfront, just hip hop. And so I wasn't sure if he'd done that before.
I think he's paying attention to what's going on in mainstream hip hop more than he's paying attention to what's going on in underground hip hop.
Oh, for sure.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
To a degree. But, I mean, there is a really notable exception that we'll come to later in this.
But in terms of this whole song is that hip hop braggadocio. It's you know, My Name is Prince and I Am Funky. It's just him laying out his case before you straight away. First track, I'm the fucking best.
Yeah.
By the way, have you heard of me? I'm Prince. I'm amazing.
And he is.
Oh, he is. Oh, totally is. There are some very silly lyrics, like you say. It goes over the top at some points, but
with context of what we've already said, you know, I mean, he's not leaving this town until he's got your daughter.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
That's evidence.
It really is, because that's what he did in Germany. Yeah. He took that daughter away. And there's, you know, I don't think he does well in saying the phrase funky fresh for the 90s. I don't think that suits him, but he says it.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those things.
Well, there you go. A lot of people are trying different things on.
This, I think, is a great first track.
Perfect.
Yeah. The piano intro at the very beginning reminded me of another song. Don't know if you remember Bob Seger released back in like 78 or something, a song called Old Time Rock and Roll, which was made famous by Risky Business.
Yep.
The Tom Cruise film.
Old Time Rock and Roll.
Well, it's got a piano intro very similar. It just does that. It's like ding 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 ding. Yep. But then very different. I just like whenever the Prince thing came on, I was like, oh, hold on, has he sampled that?
I can hear that.
It's not a sample. It's just him doing.
Yeah, but he's also got the samples at the start, which are from his old songs as well, hasn't it? Like,
that was a nice thing to do. Proper old ones like 78, 81.
Like Controversy.
Kind of
Some other bits.
Well, one thing I do want to discuss here, because like you said, there's a rap by Tony M of the New Power Generation, and I don't think it's as bad as a lot of the other ones. Like for instance, when we saw on the New Kids on the Block one, whenever they tried to do rap or they got a rapper in, and it was just that CNC Music Factory, that sort of nonsense. I don't think it's as bad as that at all. I think it's quite fun, this one, but it's one of these things that always amuses me whenever I see rappers with names like Tony M. Yeah. Right? This is not the worst case of it, because Tony isn't a particularly uncool name.
I mean, there's a whole kind of R&B group that were called Tony.
Well, indeed. So, Tony's fine. It's all right.
Tone Loc,
fine. But I just think that there are definitely some rappers with really shit names who I think shouldn't include their names, but what they've done is they've just put an initial after it and think somehow that makes it cool.
Warren G.
Yeah, exactly.
Warren G, yeah.
Rodney P.
Yeah.
Rodney. Percy P.
Yeah.
Exactly. This sort of thing. And fair enough, not a rapper, but Eric B. Mm-hmm. If someone said to you, I've got this new fucking hip-hop crew, oh, who's in it? Oh, it's Rodney, Warren, Eric, and Percy.
Yeah.
That sounds dreadful, mate.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget Andre, Lorenzo, Eric.
Yes. Indeed, but the thing is, they didn't just
O'Shea.
Eazy-E didn't go for Eric E.
No,
he had the sense to go, all right, I'm not gonna fucking put Eric anywhere close to my brand.
Exactly.
And the only other one I'm gonna give a pass to is Mike D, because Mike isn't a particularly uncool name, but I do think Mike D isn't a great hip hop name. And I love the Beastie Boys, as you know, but I love the fact that people like Warren G is the classic one. They go, yeah, man, I can make this cool.
Lil Wayne.
Fucking Wayne. Yeah, but yeah, Tony M is not the worst in the world, but I just think it's a whole genre of MCs that makes me laugh.
Well, let's not forget from Doomtree Crew, Cecilotta.
Cecil.
Actually, it's Cecil because it's America, but
they don't know how to pronounce things. Aaron,
fuck off.
But yeah, overall, I think this is totally fine. I think it's a great, fun way to start the album off. Yeah. I don't think it needs to be 7 minutes long. I think the single edit is much better.
Yeah.
But again, who's going to tell Prince not to do a 7 minute song?
That's the flavour of this record.
Indeed.
But I'm going to say, when I listen to this, I don't have a note about it being 7 minutes.
Oh, right.
Because
it didn't strike you?
No, because I think it's a good tune.
Okay, cool.
And I've listened to this album quite a lot of times for this podcast.
Okay.
Way more than my prescribed minimum is always 3.
Sure.
And a lot of the times, I'll get to 5 or something. I've listened to this a few more times.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. Right.
So, second track.
Right.
First single.
Yes, it was. Sexy MF.
Which stands for Motherfucker.
What?
I know.
I wish you told me this before we started. I would have nothing to do with this. So yes, like you said, this was the first single in July of 1992. First single from this album. It got to number 4 in the UK charts. And again, we're talking about him being prolific. This single was released just 2 weeks after the last single of his previous album.
Yep.
That he didn't stop. Bam, bam, bam.
And this is, and obviously, famously, people know about the vault for Prince. I mean, he was just, that's all he did. He recorded music constantly. He lived in a house with a recording studio, and he was in it every single day. That's what he liked doing. That's what he did. So, the hit rate is pretty fucking high. From what compared to, all right, no, let me okay. Let me rephrase that. Okay, the ability to skim hits from the top of that is pretty high.
I think that because he's done that, he has produced a lot more very, very good songs than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But by default, he's also released an awful lot of total dreck
Now,
than more other people.
Now, total dreck is very fucking subjective.
Yes.
Right. Just because a man knows how to craft a pop song and occasionally doesn't, it doesn't mean the rest of it's dreck. I'm not going to tell you that he hasn't put out some fucking dreck. He fucking 100% has.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to make a case on quite a few of these songs.
Well, we're going to fall out. But well, funny enough though, right? Sexy Motherfucker is an example. At the time, didn't get this song at all.
No.
Did not like this song at all. This song actually might be the reason I didn't pick this album up.
Oh, I see, because this is the first thing you heard off it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it live. I was like, I don't really like this. I don't get it. It doesn't do the things I like it. Don't know what I was fucking thinking. I think this is a great song.
Do you?
I fucking love this song. Yeah,
Okay.
I just, I love the way that you've just got that single note that just fucking hangs over the whole tune. It's kind of got this almost kind of Dick Tracy air of expectation. Like you've got that kind of the groove of that bass that kind of comes in at the back end of the thing. You've got the Hammond organ.
Yeah.
In somehow this song manages to be both overblown and low key at the same time.
Oh, right. Okay.
You got a funky little guitar solo that come in. I mean, it's got the lyric. I bet if you threw that ass in the air, it would turn into sunshine.
Well, that's another one of Tony M's, isn't
And
it?
I rest my case, Your Honour.
Oh, man. Dude, obviously, it's all subjective.
Yeah.
I'm very happy you got a lot out of this. I get very little from this.
I think this is a great tune.
I think I see what he's going for.
Yeah.
And let's face it, he can do that James Brown funk thing.
Yeah.
He can do it very well. And this is essentially he's doing a James Brown tune. But for me, there isn't a swagger to it. There's not a bass. I can't really hear a bass line in there. It's all top level tinniness.
But it's where the bass line comes in. It's not constant throughout. The main thing you've got throughout is you've got that little kind of keyboard part and you've got that held note.
Yeah.
So it's sparse, but then basically on the end of the bars, pretty much you got that fucking bass that comes in and really
I
notice
don't
it.
I don't feel that at all.
Love it, man. And bass when it comes in is so fucking funky, and you want more of it. But he's like, no, you can't have that. Just the tip.
Tease. Right now, I maybe it's because this is all tease and no follow through, but it annoys me a bit because I would love it to be funkier, and I'd love it to go into a bit more of a breakdown and have some of that really big bass fills or more of the horns or whatever. But he is holding back. He's just.
But that's kind of what I like about it.
You like he's not giving you what you want.
No, he's not giving me what I want. He's giving me what he wants to give me, and I'm like, okay, Prince, I'll lick your feet. I'll do it. Right, I'm gonna be straight up here as well. Right, there are things on this record that I fucking don't work for me or whatever. We'll talk about them. But I have to be honest, I've realised whilst listening to this record that there are things I will let him get away with that I would not let anybody else get away with.
Oh, I see. Okay. You're aware of your predispositions.
Yeah, because I trust him and the intent behind it. And I'm like, okay, wait, fuck it, whatever. Right, anyway.
Okay. This is a weird one because if the song is called Sexy Motherfucker.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, and you listen, if you just skim it, you go, oh, this is a song about him fucking people. This is a song about him just being an absolute horn dog. But the lyrics are really, surprisingly, more about not fucking the woman that he's singing to. The lyrics are things like, you seem perplexed, I haven't taken you yet. Can't you see I'm harder than a man can get? I get wet dreams coming out my ears. I get hard if the wind blows your cologne near me. But I can take it because I want the whole nine. This ain't about the body, it's about the mind. And so it's like him going, nah, we're not going to do this.
As you're saying those lyrics as well, look at that lyrical theme and look at the feeling that song's giving you. It's like, okay, I'm teasing, I'm not giving you this thing yet.
Yeah.
And it's there in the song and it's in the music.
You're absolutely right. But I don't want either of those things.
It's there in the intent of the track. Well, okay, that's fine. But
it's like a Prince song about not banging me. What am I getting from that?
I mean, reality.
He
never banged you.
You don't know that.
I do know that. What was the video? Which was the one? Because again, I didn't watch these videos back. Which was the one where we had like the kind of the chainmail mask? Was that My Name Is Prince, or was that this?
He had the chainmail mask in My Name is Prince.
Right.
This one is one of the ones where he's wearing the trousers that come up to his tits.
Right.
And no top. And high heels.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of them then.
You know, what I will give him is that if that was his look and he was still getting laid more than most people in the world, fair play. He's doing something right because he looks very, very silly.
Prince could have dressed up as AIDS and still been getting
It's
laid.
true. It's very true.
Anyway, right, so, okay, we've got 18 of these tracks to go through, so let's speed this along. Track number 3 is called Love to the Nines.
Oh, bit of a jazzy background there.
Mm-hmm. So, look.
Bit of horns.
This is very much cut from a template, or from a tradition that exists within Prince Records,
right?
Of a kind of a pop jazz standard, right?
Yeah. Did he do a lot of this? Because the singles weren't.
There's plenty of this kind of pop jazz that exists within his back catalogue, and it's the stuff that, coming into Prince, I was resistant to, and as I became more of a Prince fan, I became more enamoured of.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right.
So
I see.
Right. This though is separated by ear, and it's got a little bit more of a hip hop inflection, which starts to come through it later.
Well, there's another rap later on in the song.
And the beat that kind of changes as the way through.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Prince does a rap on this.
Yes.
Much better than anything that Tony M does throughout. I think Prince's rap's nice on this. I think
it's okay.
I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's interesting that his rap is it's got a more distinct, personalised flow than Tony M's, which sounds a lot like a lot of rap sounded like at the time.
Okay, sure.
That kind of, obviously Prince has got a more distinctive voice, and it's not in my top 100 fucking rap verses I've ever heard.
No, of course.
But it's a more distinct voice, which is one of the things you look for in hip hop, I think, and kind of voice and timbre,
right,
than what Tony M was doing. And it's quite interesting that he's brought Tony M in as the guy that can rap.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, in retrospect, with the kind of time past, I think what Prince does is more interesting.
I see. Right, I don't get that. I think it sounds like Prince rapping. And if you said to me, "Oh, have you heard Prince rap?" But before I'd heard him rap, I'd be like, "No, but I can imagine it." And it's what I imagine.
I bet you fucking any money, right? I bet you any money if Prince had put his mind to it, he'd have been a better rapper than 90% of the rappers
if
out
he'd
there.
put his mind to it, he could have written, a better album in 1992, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is... to be honest, I think this is terrible. I think this is saccharine lounge jazz with him doing his falsetto voice, which I've never really got on with.
Mate, I have no issue with the main body of it. You get to a point and he starts doing this kind of he alludes to the fact that there's going to be a questionnaire in something that he's singing, and then there's like an act out between Tony M and Mayte. Mayte, and I mean, it is literally peak early 90s Prince. And what age are you? Jailbait.
Jailbait.
Fuck me.
I know. What?
This is right up there with Belle Biv DeVoe's backstage underage.
He's just putting it all out there for everyone to see.
He really is. The thing is, and I fully accept that bit is objectively terrible. And as a Prince fan, I do not hate it.
Okay.
I don't hate it. Right. The like the outro with all the fucking all the major keys, the big horns coming through. Enjoy that. It's outlandish ridiculousness. And I wouldn't accept it from anyone else. This is almost the thing that I'm putting my cards on the table. You're a long-term listener and you're going, Dave, why are you not savaging this? You're not being objective. Can't be. I enjoy this stuff. I've listened to so many Prince albums. When I heard this, I was like, yeah, this isn't the best track on the album, but it's a Prince song that I have that I don't know intimately,
right? And
there were plenty of bits in it that I do like.
I did enjoy the bit towards the end where it is good, getting more kind of upbeat, and it's like, how are you going to make that booty boom?
Yeah.
How am I going to make that booty boom? How are you going to make that booty boom? How am I going to make that booty boom? Step back, give a girl some room.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Exactly.
That is very silly, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the tune, the kind of the main song bit of this, I think is really bad. But I don't really like anything he does in that style that I've heard. Because to me, this sounds like the most beautiful girl in the world. That sort of stuff. And I think that's awful, you know? So it's along those lines for me.
I mean, yes, I think there's a richer vein of this kind of jazz-infused stuff that exists within Prince's back catalogue, right? Those jazz singers are an enormous part of his influence. It's something that he grew up with.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's not my favourite bit, but it's... and again, I completely understand. Like, when I started listening to Prince records and I'd come across something like this, it was the stuff I was like, oh, no, I don't... Yeah. But I've listened to so much that I kind of... I've got a feel for it, and I enjoy it. This isn't the best example of it by a fucking country mile, but it doesn't bother me. And I listened to, when I was listening to this, I was like, this is going to make Krister's shit.
All right,
and I was
you
like,
know me well.
Yeah, so there we go.
All right. Also, nearly 6 minutes long, which is entirely unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, again, these tracks could do. I mean, this track could obviously do with it in it.
A trim. Yeah. All right. So that's number 3 on the album. Number 4.
The Morning Papers.
He realized that she was new to love.
And this was the 4th and final UK single, but it only got to like number 50.
So you say UK, I mean U-Tree is probably more appropriate. He knew that he was new to love.
Naive in every way. Yeah. Every schoolboy's fantasy she was. That's why he had to wait.
Yeah.
What the hell? He's just flaunting it. He is absolutely just showing you his hard drive and going, what are you going to do?
Right, I mean, I think he's trying to come to terms with it himself, to be honest with you.
I think he's putting it out there so no one can accuse him of keeping it secret. I think that's what the plan is.
What, you mean like when R. Kelly produced an album by Aaliyah called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number? It's fucking bad, man. This is bad. But look, man, back to this track.
Yeah, okay.
I think this track's gorgeous.
This is nice. There are some nice, but I think overall it wanders too much. But I think when it's catchy, it's good.
It's got a really cock rock guitar. Mm-hmm. It's a really kind of late 80s rock and roll guitar that's running through this.
Right, sure.
Wouldn't, you know, kind of, but there's a thing that he does when he does that kind of style where it's like he plays riffs sometimes that would fit on like Gumby rock records. I mean, you know, we've got Little Angels coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But he always does it with just that fucking
bit of flair.
Little bit of flair, that little bit of style.
Right.
And the bass line on this track's fucking great as well. And again, like you say, it wanders a little bit too much for this to be a classic track.
Yeah. There's a saxophone solo in it, and usually I'll be like, wicked. But I don't like the saxophone solo in
I
this.
quite like the saxophone solo in this,
right.
yeah. But I just think this is a... You know, it's an album track, but I think it's a really sumptuous album track.
I think it's a nice one. I think it's one of the better ones, and I do like that at the end when it's that na 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 na, that whole outro. That's really catchy, and the bit, even just the line, the Morning Papers line, is a really nice cadence to it. It's a lovely, catchy bit. But I think the bulk of it is a bit pedestrian.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, motherfucker has got a flair for melody that, like nearly no one else.
When he can do it, he's brilliant.
It's not when he can; it's when he wants to.
When he wants to, fair enough. Yeah, when he does it, it's brilliant. But I think he doesn't do it enough sometimes. I don't think there's enough catchiness in some of his songs.
Right. So next track is track number 5.
5. Yep.
It's called The Max.
Where are you?
Cynthia Lauper.
Cynthia.
Indeed.
Pain. So look.
You can relax now. The Max is in control.
Now this to me sounds like something from the Labyrinth soundtrack.
Oh, that's good. Yes,
But
it does.
Muppet funk I've written here.
That's a great genre. Uh-huh. It's thumping bass line and drums on this again.
Look, this is in that kind of the tone of the stuff he did with Morris Day.
Sure.
It's a big, fun stomp, you know?
Yeah.
And there's... I mean, like, it's on... my head's nodding. I can't...
You're feeling this.
It's a fairly infectious stomp, right? And he's thrown the kitchen sink at this. There's a house piano in it.
Yeah, the piano I'm not a fan of. The sound of that piano. But that's early 90s.
Yeah. I mean, I was never a fan of that thing. It kind of fits in here. I mean, there's a fucking sand dance in the middle of it somewhere. I mean, there's a great line in there. When they tell me to walk a straight line, I put on crooked shoes.
Yeah. Oh, the whole thing again. It's him bragging about himself.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bits about it going. Oh well, if someone tells me to do X, I'll do Y.
Yeah.
And so that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like I break the rules.
Yeah.
I'm Prince. You can't tell me what to do, which is exactly what we've been saying the whole thing.
For
That's
sure.
what his thing is. In terms of fucking weird lyrics, I don't understand what he's trying to go with. When the going gets tougher than the tough can go, I grind the axe. That's when I go to the max. I'm not sure what he's trying to say.
I think
it sex?
I think what he's trying to do is find a fucking rhyme with Max.
It's just so bizarre. But my default position is, he's probably talking about fucking.
Well, maybe.
No,
I mean, he definitely was talking about that a lot. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of fucking around in this song.
Yeah.
When it's on though, I'm dancing. But,
Fine.
It's a lesser canon.
Sure.
But it's.
I would advise you, if you're dancing, don't dance with Tony M to this song, because he says in it that if you dance with him, he's likely to break your back.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, indeed, that seems a bit overkill.
So that's that.
Okay, well, look, we've got a lot to get through, so let's take a quick break after that one and look at the album chart for this
Let's
week.
look
Yeah?
at the albums, motherfucker.
Okay. Timing-wise, we're looking at the week of October 11th to 17th of 1992, and the top 10 is realistically very, very similar to the ones we've already seen. Number 10 is the Sex Pistols' Kiss This, which was the greatest hits thing they did. I think they re-released maybe Pretty Vacant at this point. Couldn't even tell you. Anyway, but that was number 10. Number 9 is Brian May with Back to the Light, which we've talked about. Number 8, Belinda Carlisle's Best Of. Number 7, Lionel Richie's Best Of. Number 6, Peter Gabriel, Us. Number 5, Michael Bolton, Timeless. Again, you've seen that. Number 4, Mike Oldfield, Tubular Bells 2. Mm-hmm. Number 3, ABBA Gold, still up there.
Yeah.
Number 2, REM, Automatic for the People. So it's only gone down to number 2, but it was knocked off the top spot. But then, if we look at the time period where we have Prince at number 1 and then this Simple Minds greatest hits going on, we've got 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're at Christmas, so we are peak.
we're approaching.
Yeah, we're coming towards. So what we are is we're peak Christmas sales. Greatest hits albums are selling because that's what people are buying their dad for Christmas.
Absolutely. But we do have 4 weeks of really quite interesting stuff to see as well. First one I got a note was in Spiral Carpet's Revenge of the Goldfish. It was kind of their biggest period. They'd had the hits in 1990 and this was their follow-up album. Mm-hmm. It got to number 13, but it didn't do great things for them. And from there on, they were pretty much petering out. But it was in there. It was a big one for them. Number 13. Number 18, and I didn't realise I got this high, 9 Inch Nails, Broken.
Oh,
got to number 18 in the UK charts. Mudhoney released Piece of Cake. Only got to number 39, and I had it at the time because I had been a fan of the previous stuff. I'd found it a couple of years previous.
Yeah,
it's okay. There's some really good stuff on there, but it's not prime era for me, Mudhoney.
Sure.
But it's still good. Here's one that I'm quite sure you're gutted didn't get to number 1. Got to number 2, Madonna Erotica.
I don't think. Again, Erotica is an album that is hard to love. It's not a great record.
No, I've never heard it.
It was the first Madonna album in a long while that I didn't buy.
I see.
Record that kind of came out.
Big furore about it. Big hype.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was around the time she put the Sex Book out and all of this stuff. She was kind of in that era of kind of sexploitation Madonna. Yeah. And again, in exactly the same way as this Prince record, it came out at a time when my eyes were in a different direction.
Your focus had changed.
I probably didn't come back to Madonna in terms of loving an album by her until Ray of Light. And
right, sure.
So like Erotica,
so for most of the 90s, really.
Yeah, I mean, Erotica, Bedtime Stories, those records. I have relationships with them, but not in the way that I do the early records and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. No, fair enough. Got to number 52, Izzy Stradlin and the Juju Hounds, their self-titled album.
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember that coming out. I had that on tape. Okay. Because I was such a big Guns N' Roses fan.
Yeah, I suspected you would have at least investigated.
Yeah. And look, fucking top tip, right? If you hear these words in a song by white people, Juju, Mojo, right? Any of these words... Yeah. It's shit.
Just avoid.
It's shit, right? It may be the Rolling Stones get a pass on some of it, right? Okay. But that shit, man.
Not in the 90s.
Not allowing that anymore,
Right.
man.
Again, never heard it, but my instinct is to go, oh, bet you that's awful.
No, do you know what? It's not that bad. Like, I mean, Izzy is a good player. I mean, it's very, very kind of bluesy. It's one of those records. Probably listen to it now. It's probably better than you, by a lot better than you think it would
might be actually more in there. But I suppose at the time it wasn't Guns N' Roses, so
I mean, it absolutely wasn't Guns N' Roses.
You're going to be disappointed.
It was a lot more of a blues record.
Gotcha.
You know.
All right, well, that got number 52. Number 53 was Alice in Chains with Dirt.
What a record that is!
Did you have that at the time? Like, were you aware of them?
Okay, so where are we?
October 92.
October 1992. Well, I know exactly when I bought my copy of it, which was in May of 1993.
Oh, okay.
But I knew. I mean, I'm trying to think. I saw Alice in Chains on the Dirt tour, Brixton Academy, in early '93. So I would.
Maybe so then.
I wouldn't have had it day of release or anything along those lines.
But pretty straight away.
I had it fairly. So I would imagine I had it by Christmas of this year.
Right. And were you immediately a fan of the album? As soon as you heard it?
Yeah. I mean, immediately a fan of the album, immediately a fan of the band, got everything I could. Alice in Chains is one of my, Alice in Chains is one of my favourite bands. Lane Staley is one of my favourite singers.
Absolutely.
And it was, I can't remember if it was this year or the year after, but it was Album of the Year, Kerrang. I think, and Metal Hammer as well, I think.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. The new Fast Automatic Daffodils released Body Exit Mind, got to number 57, which I didn't have the album. I think I had it on tape, maybe, but I never really listened to it. But they had a couple of brilliant singles, like really fucking good singles. But they did suffer, I think, from having a stupid name.
I'm fucking.
It's one of those ones.
That was just classic early 90s indie bands, wasn't it?
Indeed, Ned's Atomic Dustbin. Yeah, one of those ones. You go, all right, that's a bit silly. But they weren't that sort of silly band. But I do think they suffered from the first impression. You go, oh, bet you they're dickheads. Boyz II Men released Coolie High Harmony.
Yeah.
Got to number 7. I'm imagining that's just straight up pop.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling that's a UK release, and it was released earlier in the States.
Oh, it might be. I know that we saw the single last week of End of the Road.
Yeah.
So maybe it's them just doing their UK push at this point.
Because at that time as well, like with that R&B stuff, there was, as I recall, a fairly solid deficit in release, and hip hop as well. Like there was a lot of stuff that you could only get on US import.
That is very true.
And
yes.
I've got a feeling that Boyz II Men album was that you could get it. It was available for like 6 months or so on import, and then it was finally released in the UK.
I see.
I mean, I've done no research on that. It's purely memory, but I have memories of that Boyz II Men record whilst I was still at high school.
Oh,
and I left high school in June of that year.
Oh, so yeah, it was
unless it was another
in
one.
the background.
I was never a big enough fan that this stuff has stayed in my head that much.
Nah, not at all. Speaking of Ned's Atomic Dustbin, they released their Are You Normal album. Got to number 13.
Did they ever find out?
I think the answer was no.
They weren't.
No. It's not a brilliant album. But then again, they never did a brilliant album. Yeah. I think they have some great singles, and I have a great fondness for the band because I have fond memories of that time listening to those singles, but they were not a good album.
They only wore flares, didn't they? Like big flares. And Elton John wrote that song about them.
Oh, did they? What was that?
Goodbye, Normal Jeans.
I don't know why you've done that joke for Now Atomic Dustbin.
I don't know either.
No. I did that joke in one of our Elton John episodes.
I know you did. I can't remember.
Oh, God. Terrible. I'm torn between cutting it out and then leaving it in just to say fucking hell.
I don't know, mate. No, leave that in, definitely. That's the shit joke of the week.
Nena Cherry released Homebrew. Got to number 27. Don't remember that.
What's on Homebrew?
One bit. Not a clue.
Again, I mean, is that a second record?
1992.
Hang on, Home.
Was that when she was doing 7 Seconds with Yusa and Dora?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Homebrew, Nena Cherry, Buddy X. I remember Buddy X.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Not a clue. Only got to 27.
It's a second studio album.
Is it?
So it's the follow-up to Raw Like Sushi.
Okay. Again, I suspect this was one that got released in the States previous. Arrested Development, 3 years, 5 months, etc.
Yeah.
This charted in October.
Uh-huh.
It peaked. It kept selling, and it peaked in February '93, but it first charted in the UK in this October.
Arrested Development always fucking annoyed me. It always seemed like hip hop for people that didn't like hip hop.
Well, it seemed to me like someone had heard De La Soul at a different record label and gone, "Oh, I want one of those. Can you get me a?"
Yeah, it was in that kind of wheelhouse where, and you know, man, look, dude, I'm a fucking 16-year-old white kid from Luton, right? But knowing what I knew about hip hop, it didn't feel authentic to me.
Okay,
right.
Well, it's pop hip hop. It's PM Dawn, but
this is, and that's exactly it. I put it in that same fucking thing as PM Dawn, as kind of the Dream Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely.
We Papa Girl rappers.
Don't be dissing them.
We rule, we Papa rule the dance.
But Arrested Development, I think Tennessee is a very good single.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Wendell is sappy crap.
Yeah.
I think it's really just bleh. And the rest of the stuff I heard, I don't think I even heard this full album. The rest of the stuff I did hear, the other thing was like, no, this is just, can't be bothered.
I think the people that liked Arrested Development annoyed me as well.
Right, I see.
And, bear in mind, I was a lot more militant in my youth about this kind of stuff.
Okay,
I was a lot more of a dick about it. And if it didn't smell right to me, I would let you know about it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's one of those albums, definitely. It would polarize because it's not credible hip-hop, but it's also not pop cheese that you can just let go.
I mean, in order to express any opinion, I would have to listen to the record again, because I've got.
Don't do that.
I'm not going to. I mean, if it was number one, we'd have fucking had to.
Yeah. The Offspring released Ignition. At this point,
I heard this record. I had a little pop punk phase. I was a skateboarder. A lot of this stuff was on videos, skate videos. A lot of stuff that was on Epitaph. I don't think I found it quite this early. I'm trying to think, probably around 90. Probably the next year, 92, 93, is when I started listening to a lot of this stuff. I started listening to a lot of Rancid and a lot of kind of Bad Religion was a big band for me.
Okay. There's another one that came out in this time period, NoFX, released White Trash, Two Heaves and a Bean.
Sure. Again, and NoFX, loads of people I know, big fans of NoFX. I really like certain NoFX songs, but I never really... One of those bands, you couldn't be into everyone. I didn't have their albums. Sure. There was, it's kind of one of those. It's one of those things where if they'd have had an album that had like 2 or 3 songs that I really liked on it, I'd have probably picked it up.
Right, and played it over and over. Into it.
Or there was one song that I really liked. I mean, "Kill All the White Man." That's the song that I really love by NoFX.
Yeah, it's good. Big album here, debut album for Insane Clown Posse. The Carnival of Carnage came out.
Oh, fuck it, right. I kind of love that the Insane Clown Posse exists.
Oh, that they exist is hilarious. That they started releasing music and people bought it is terrifying.
And the fact that they are on the FBI's list as a gang or whatever, that they have their own fucking festival, that a film was made at their festival.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is very strange.
What I would love more than almost, if they say, if you could be invisible for one day, what would you do?
Oh yeah,
right? And like when you're a fucking when you're a teenage boy, you don't know any better. You're like, I'd go into the girls' dressing room.
Yeah, absolutely.
You say that as a 45-year-old man, you're like, oh no, I'm going to get arrested. Right? What I would do if I could be invisible for one day and I could go and not interact is I would go to the Juggalo fucking whatever it's called, the convention of the Juggalos or whatever the fuck it's called. I'd go there and I'd just wander around and I'd observe it, because I would love to be there, but I would like to be there without anyone knowing I was there,
definitely,
or without anyone being able to talk to me.
No, God, imagine having a conversation with a Juggalo. Because it
I
wouldn't
suspect
be about anything that wasn't Juggalo related.
I don't think they talk about anything that isn't Juggalo related. I suspect there's probably some very lovely Juggalos. And
by process of mathematics, there have to be.
Yeah,
but
I mean, and just for full disclosure, I've
lacking.
seen the Insane Clown Posse twice live.
Oh, you have as well.
Yeah, I have. I went of my own accord the first time when they first hit the UK, and with the great Malenko when they first released that over here. And I went to the show because I'd heard it was nuts, and I had a fucking brilliant time.
Really?
It was ridiculous.
Okay.
It was ridiculous. And the second time I was working at HMV, and one of the reps gave me some tickets. So
why not?
I went. And the joke had worn off substantially.
That's the thing, because I've heard this joke before. Immediately after you've...
I mean, it's puerile and it's ridiculous, and taken at face value, it's a lot of fun. I never, ever listened to the Insane Clown Posse and went, oh, this is good music.
No.
I went, this is funny.
Right.
And it was for a minute, and then it wasn't anymore.
Indeed. All right, well, yeah, so they released their debut album. The other one, released in this period, actually didn't chart until February 93, but was the first Rage Against the Machine album, the self-titled Rage Against the Machine album.
I think we have to do an episode about that, don't we?
Because that is a big deal for me, that record.
Oh my
that
God.
is a huge, that's a game-changing record for me.
Without a doubt, mate. That's rewriting the rules.
Indeed. So I think we should not necessarily say anything more about it now and do a full kind of bonus episode on that.
I think that's
deserves
probably.
it, I
I
think.
think that'll probably be our next episode. In
Okay,
fact.
we'll do that next because I've got a lot of things to say about that album and what it did for me and music in general.
Yeah, me
okay,
too.
Right, wicked. In that case, that's the last one I've got, and we'll cover that in full fucking detail next time.
Yep.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. Right, but there's a lot of shit there. There's a lot of big albums. You know, Alice in Chains, Offspring, Rage Against the Machine, Nine Inch Nails,
Mate,
Madonna. Even. Big albums there. Decent.
There's a lot of really fucking high quality stuff.
Yeah, but let's go back into the second bit of Prince Love Symbol. Yeah?
Yes, indeed. Okay, so the first track, so track 6 as it was, isn't really a track, it's a segue. It's called Segue 1.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we'll just let this play a bit. And from reading around this album, it appears that initially there were supposed to be 8 of these little seeks in between
really?
tracks to tie the plot together. But he then recorded more music and needed to lose some stuff to be able to put these in. And so they're now only 2 on the album.
I'm just amazed he didn't just put them all in anyway.
That is true.
Yeah.
But this is a little weirdness. It is a skit about a journalist phoning him up to try and get an interview with him. He's obviously known as a very private person, and he said, as soon as she says, "Oh, by the way, I'm recording this conversation," he hangs up.
Yeah.
That's what this is. The only kind of notable thing about it is that the part of the journalist is played by Kirstie Alley.
At that time, famous as someone who'd been in Cheers, and now famous as like a fucking right wing.
A Trump apologist Scientologist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah, I mean, we're recording this in the same sort of week as she put some tweet out saying, "Oh, well, this is why Trump is the best thing in the world," and has got nothing but absolute hatred on social media for it.
Oh, well,
that's what you get,
How many thetans is that going to lose her?
mate. It's one of these ones. Like, she's not one of the Scientologist ones that I'm like, oh, I'm gutted about that because I don't give a shit about Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
You know, yes, she was okay in Cheers, and I think I've probably seen Look Who's Talking, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Well, I think 2 of the ones that really gutted me are no longer Scientologists.
Oh, is one of them Beck?
Yeah, Beck was one.
Yeah.
And Jason Lee,
Oh, yeah, of course.
former skateboarder and star of My Name Is Earl.
Yeah.
who I believe is no longer a Scientologist.
Oh, I didn't know he left. That's okay. Right.
I believe that's the case. I mean, who fucking knows? And if you're listening to this Church of Scientology, we completely endorse your right for free movement. And please don't tap our
take us
phones.
down.
We don't want any. We don't want any smoke with the Church of Scientology.
Jesus. Oh, no. Fuck me. We already got in trouble with Twitter this week, didn't we, for one of our New Kids on the Blocks?
Oh yeah, we got taken down.
Videos
I mean,
that we made.
straight up copyright infringement.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Oops.
I mean, at some point, guys, if you're listening to this whole podcast is going to get taken down.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so that's number 6, which isn't a real song, but it sets it up. Again, it's just part of that plot.
Okay,
But then we have track number 7, which is Blue Light.
Blue Light. Can you smell fish?
Fucking what's going on?
Is it cod?
Cod reggae, mate. What the hell? Ja!
Rastafarianism.
Good God. Has he ever done a reggae song before?
Oh, probably. I don't know.
I don't know if he has. This is
Right. I like his voice on this track, though.
Do you?
Yeah,
No.
I do. I took against this song straight away on a first listen.
Yeah.
But there are things in it, in the vocal melodies, that I like.
Oh my God.
I mean, I do. I told you, man. I mean, lyrically, it is the memoirs of a coercive pervert.
Right. It is him complaining that his woman isn't as adventurous as she used to be, and he wants a bit more rumpy pumpy.
Look, again, I've written here, I wouldn't let anyone else take it away with this song.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, that's
But the funny thing is that this is something that bears a little bit of discussion. What it sounds like more than anything else in the world is a Flight of the Conchords song.
Absolutely it does.
And that's the funny, that is the interesting thing, because Flight of the Conchords have borrowed, obviously, so much from, Prince, amongst other people.
Sure.
Like, when something like this comes out, it almost it does make it sound a little bit like parody, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. And this is it. If this was a parody song, I'd be like, this is spot on. Oh, this is so well thought. Oh, yeah. But this is him being serious. This is him doing a reggae song. And it's awful.
Right, okay.
Dreadful shite.
I am not going to present... I'm not going to present a case for the defence.
Okay.
But I am going to tell you that, I quite enjoy quite a bit of the vocal melody in that song, and it transcends the fact that it's got that kind of the reggae feel to it. I lose the reggae in it after the intro to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Look,
right.
I'm not going to tell you it's a good song. What I'm going to tell you is that I don't hate it.
No, okay, and those are two separate things.
Yeah,
that's fine. This went straight into my give me some reggae shit playlist.
Yeah,
obviously, along with some of the other terrible ones we've had
nice.
so far. There's a line in this that tickled me. You know, like Evian and the deep blue sea, you and me got different tastes.
That's a good line.
That is an okay.
That's a good line.
But you like it in the dark. But I like a blue light. I don't understand the blue light thing.
Maybe he just likes a blue light.
Like UV? So he can see his jizz?
I don't. CSI.
Exactly. He wants you to come in and go, just checking that you haven't got anybody else's on you there.
It has got that, and I'll be standing naked with nothing but a smile on.
Again, that makes me uncomfortable. That really does.
Like with your own sexuality.
I don't think I've ever seen Prince smile. I don't know what would make him smile. I'm sure it's something that
15-year-old girls.
Oh, Lordy God. Do you reckon maybe the blue light is just a police siren on the way?
All right, so track number 8, I Want to Melt With You.
Well, this is different again.
Hard, squelchy. That's kind of almost techno, isn't it?
It is. This. I've written this as Prince trying to do techno. Like, he's heard some of the other stuff that's going on in the world at the minute in the charts. He's put a squelchy bass behind it, a bit of rave.
There's a River of Blood lyric in this. Do you know that lyric?
Don't look now, but there's a river of blood. You must have been a virgin. What am I guilty of? Oh no. Oh dear.
This is the medieval wedding where you hang the sheets out, isn't it?
Fucking hell, Prince.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, again, but what I do like about this track a lot is the way he layers the backing vocals and then uses his voice as like a rhythmic instrument over the top.
All right.
And it really there's a lot in the production there that is really satisfying. I actually really like quite a lot of this track. It's really nicely textured. There are some fucking whack keyboards in it, really bad
Terrible
keyboards in it. But I think in terms of him putting his hand towards like kind of a techno house tune, I think this is somewhat successful.
Oh, I think this is grim terribleness.
I think there's some really good stuff in this. I really like bits of this.
I can't get on with this in any way, shape, or form.
No, I think like the way that those backing vocals are there, and he comes across the top doing some different stuff with his voice.
Yeah.
I think it's musically really quite interesting.
The bit about do that, baby, just like a dog, and then you hear some barking.
That's not one of my favourite bits about it.
What I do like about this is that it's under 4 minutes long. I like that. I'm assuming a kind of an experiment for him. I don't know if he'd done a lot of this sort of thing before. I don't think it works for him.
I think it does. I think it's interesting because I go, right, this is him trying his hand at another thing, and this is another genre that he is demonstrating some proficiency in.
This is obviously with the understanding that I am not the Prince fan in this room.
Yeah,
So
and this is a difficult.
I'm getting nothing of the other bits that you're getting.
Sure. And
You're
this
enjoying what he's trying to do.
And this is a difficult conversation from that point of view, because what I'm trying to do is go, all right, this is someone that I'm interested in doing, something that I haven't really, I'm predisposed to like all of this stuff,
Indeed.
right? And, I'm being a bit of an apologist. I'm aware of it, but I'm also not apologising for being an apologist.
No. And this is, to be honest, it's probably a nice way to have this, because we're going to have, hopefully, some Prince fans listening to this. And if it was just me going, well, this is bad and this is awful, that's not something that they're going to enjoy. At least they will hopefully be able to go, no, I'm with Dave on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's some I think there's some really interesting stuff in there, some really nice stuff to process.
Okay.
Anyway, so track number 9 is
9.
called Sweet Baby.
Back into ballad territory here.
So, we talk about, I was talking about the kind of the jazz infused stuff. Again, this type of softly spoken love song is very much a Prince staple. You can find examples of this type of thing throughout his catalogue.
Right.
And this is never my brand of Prince. These are always the songs that I can lose.
Right, sure.
I would rather hear I Want to Melt With You 5 times than listen to Sweet Baby.
Okay, right.
It sounds dated. There's always something you can find if you're a fan in these songs. And it's something, his voice is always pleasing to a degree, but this doesn't do anything for me. This would be a skip for me.
No, well, that's because this is insipid shit. This is absolutely awful.
I
with
don't,
no
I don't,
tune.
I don't like this song.
No,
I'm not
I think
gonna.
it's dreadful. And again, I understand I don't like this style of his in general. I can't think of a song like this that I'm like, oh, actually, but that's an okay version. But this is especially bad because there's no tune. It's really just.
I mean, a good example of something like this kind of thing would be something like "Money Don't Matter Tonight," right?
Okay.
That's a good. That is as a good an example of this kind of thing that I would like. But
Okay.
there's a lot of these kind of bits across record, and they're always kind of album filler tracks. And they never really do much for me.
Fine. Okay, well, let's just breeze past that. Track number 10 then, The Continental.
I'd cut.
Well, that starts well.
Now bring it up.
Another kind of big upbeat drum track.
And I'm gonna do you like you wanna. I'm gonna do you like
I was listening to this and I was going, it starts well. And then is it getting a bit samey?
Well, it's 5.5 minutes long again.
But then,
It's overly long.
yeah, so I was thinking it gets a bit samey, and then after a while he starts fucking around again. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I mean, by the time you get to the fourth verse of this song, he has gone full on fucking purple pervert.
Oh, there's some right filth at the end.
Oh, I mean, apart from like when fucking, the final bit is Carmen Electra doing what is essentially a fucking JOI video.
JOI?
Oh, fuck off, you're not on Pornhub, a jerk-off instruction video.
Oh, I've never heard that in my life.
How have you not?
Because I know how to jerk off. I've never had to look it up.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
Right.
Oh, now I look like the pervert. But out of interest, right, this is a little side note here, right? Like, looking at Pornhub, right? Not that I ever do.
No,
but,
definitely not.
And there's an advert just pops up that says, tired of jerking off, question mark. I'm like, you've misjudged this.
Read your audience for them. Do you understand what the Continental means or is? Because I don't understand. This is called The Continental.
Yeah.
But this is just a song about shagging.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand what continental means. Because to me, that's a breakfast or a hotel.
Could it be analogous for cunnilingus?
Well, maybe, because there is definitely some stuff about his oral sex technique going on. Like, he says things like, shall I go in a circle like the merry-go-round that you and your girlfriends used to ride all up and down? So is this just about fucking? But I just don't understand what the continental bit is. Like, afterwards you can have a bit of breakfast to eat?
Yeah, yeah.
There is a line in here, all tongue. Yeah, that's all right. I want all your germs. I can be heck a teacher if you want to learn.
No,
Don't like that.
He's not set up for a COVID environment, is
he
he?
really is not.
Not with an attitude like that.
I want all your all tongue. Yeah, that's right. I want all your germs. Imagine saying that to a woman.
How do you think I met my wife?
I can be heck a teacher if you want to learn. Right. I don't get it. This sounds to me like the less catchy cousin of Get Off. You know, I love Get Off. I think that's brilliant. This sounds like a bit of an anemic version of that to me.
Sure. If we're putting it in context of, is this a single? Absolutely not. Is it an acceptable album track? I think it is.
Yes, absolutely fine. I prefer this to an awful lot of the other ones.
Yep.
But that's not saying much whenever I think some of them are terrible. But this is mid tier in the album for sure.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's good. It's a nice little pace change after Sweet Baby. It's just for the record, we talked an awful lot last week about REM about how well that album is tracked. This album is not. Considering this is supposed to be an opera, it's not a well tracked record.
Yeah. Maybe if it had been a proper film, you'd have seen a through line more than there is here. But
I've seen Graffiti Bridge, and that didn't happen. The case. Anyway, so
right, well, that's the second bit of the album.
Okay, well, so yeah, let's take a break then and do singles.
Indeed. So singles this week. Number 10, and I don't think, I'm just looking through, I don't think oh no, we got a couple of new ones. Number 10 is Undercover's Baker Street, which is still dreadful. Number 9, we've seen this band a couple of times. This is one of their bigger singles. Ring any bells?
Yeah, it does.
Big pop hit.
It's not End of the Road. No, it's Oh, hang on a minute. I fucking know what this is.
Yeah. Oh, you absolutely do know it. The UK, not US.
No, it's not that.
One of the biggest pop acts of the 90s.
Let's take that.
Yes, it is. It's Take That. Remember which one?
I can't remember what the name of the song is. What is this song called?
It is A Million Love Songs.
A Million fucking Love Songs. Jesus
Million
fucking
Love Songs.
Christ. Oh, so annoying.
Yeah, indeed. So that's number 9 this week. Number 8, and I remember this, and it's obviously awful. It's one of these novelty rave hits, but you might remember who it is, but see if you can just get what this is. I advise you don't answer too soon. Because it just sounds like Too Unlimited at this point.
Yeah. You know, ready for this?
I know you're going to dig this.
It's Tetris.
It is Tetris, yeah. It's Tetris. I mean, do you remember at all who did this fucking travesty?
It's like some Russian dude's name in it or some shit.
Dr. Spin.
Oh, Dr. Spin.
Dr. Spin with Tetris. Number 7 is Prince, My Name is Prince. Number 6 is Simple Minds with Love Song, which is one of the ones off their greatest hits. Number 5, Dr. Alban, It's My Life. Number 4, Bizarre Inc., I'm Gonna Get You. Number 3, Shame and Ebenezer Good. Number 2, Boys to Men, End of the Road. Number 1 is Tasman Archer's Sleeping Satellite.
Nice.
So we've seen all of those before. Sure. Other stuff that came out in the kind of the 4 weeks that we're looking at, and while we have mentioned this entirely already, this one got to number 3.
Yeah, this is what's it?
We've just talked about her.
Oh no, this isn't what I thought it was at all.
Oh,
It's Madonna.
this is Madonna Erotica.
Erotica. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, what I fucking thought it was for a minute?
Huh.
I had it in my head because obviously I can't hear it amazingly well from there.
I'm the other side here.
I thought it was going to be Sunshine in a Rainy Day, which is obviously completely the wrong era.
Oh, it's Zoe, yes, indeed.
But the beat's there, isn't it?
No, yeah, absolutely.
there
Right. This one only got to number 70, and you, I think we've already established, fucking hate this band, but Lemonheads, It's a Shame About Ray. Come on. And this is a really good tune, I think. This is a really catchy little indie guitar tune. It's dead nice, but only got to number 70, which I'm surprised at. I do suspect that it got re-released after Mrs. Robinson and it went higher. It's one of those ones. This one, again, this didn't chart until February over here, but it was released in November. But we're going to do a full episode on this. But it's one of those ones that is instantly recognisable, and from the first time you hear it, you're like, fuck me. It's brilliant in every way. So we'll talk about more about that. This one got to number 13, and I've never heard of this song. You would be more likely to have, but even if you can just get the band off this one.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, this is ringing bells.
I've got this.
Yeah?
This is Megadeth.
It is Megadeth.
It's Sweating Bullets.
Nope.
No, High Speed Dirt.
Nope. Yeah, I've never heard of this song in my life.
You belong to me. I'm hanging on to life by the skin of my teeth.
And that's what it's called.
There you go.
Skin of my teeth.
I really like this tune.
Oh, right. I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah, it's a good tune.
Number 13, that's pretty decent, though. This one got to number 51 in this time, right? And we've talked about this band and the album it's from before, but the single charted at 51 at this point.
Yeah. It's Hunger Strike.
It is.
Temple of the Dog.
It is indeed Hunger Strike. And I'm good because the album came out the previous year, didn't it?
Oh, God,
is it 91? I'm sure we talked about it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I
No,
got into this one of those records. I got it in a mass of other records around that time.
Sure.
Just getting into all of those grunge records. But yeah, I mean,
I think it's one of these ones that was old at this point, but
I think what happened was that Pearl Jam got success and Soundgarden were getting success, so all of a sudden the video that has both the guys from Soundgarden and Pearl Jam in starts getting
MTV.
Because yeah, that was a massive rotation track.
That's very true, actually. Okay, this one got to number 30, and I must admit I haven't listened to this in years. I liked it at the time. It was a band that I really liked, and this was their first single on a major label. And I liked it at the time, but looking back on it now, this was the beginning of the end for this band. And this was played in all the kind of indie alt clubs at the time as well.
Tell you what it sounds like. It sounds like a really bad cover of Territory by Sepultura.
Oh, yeah.
God, those drums fucking sound like paint pots.
Is it ringing any bells for you? Because you'll know the song.
I mean, I probably have.
But you won't have heard it in ages as well. No, it's Therapy, Teeth Grinder.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Yeah. And like I say, at the time, I really liked this, but I really wanted to like it.
See, I kind of, again, Therapy, as we've said here before, kind of band that I just didn't like for some reason. And I never, I kind of...
Well, I would imagine that you probably were hearing stuff like this as your first introduction to Therapy. Or maybe even later stuff. Whereas because it was Belfast,
exactly.
I had been party to the first couple of mini albums.
I think Screamager was the first tune I really heard by them.
Right. Well, you see, that to me is absolutely in the plummet towards me not liking Therapy anymore. Right. But that's all right. I did have a huge poster of this on my wall because I was walking into Belfast Town Centre one time and there was a bloke putting them up, the massive, what they're called 60-40s, the really big billboard size ones. And I said to him, mate, is there any way you could keep one of these for me? He went, fucking have as many as you want, mate. So I took one and put it on my wall, and it covered the entire wall.
Nice.
And it's just a real close-up of someone's teeth held open with those kind of dentist things.
Yeah, I remember the image.
Remember the image? And so my mum hated that.
Yeah, I bet.
Absolutely hate that. As far as I know, it is still up on the wall of my old room in my house in Belfast, but she's covered it with other things.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like underneath there, but she's now put a load of other stuff on there, because that's her office now.
I love the fact that there's still the kind of the ghost of
it's
you
somewhere,
there.
isn't it? I think
I'd imagine there's the ghost of you in quite a lot of the carpets as well, but... You can get that blue light out.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Right, it's like on number 30. This one only got to number 52, and we are going to be encountering them in a much bigger way down the line. But this was the first single. Didgeridoo going on.
Oh. Oh.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Jamiroquai. This is When You're Gonna Learn. This is Jamiroquai. And I'm pretty sure next season, I think in 1993, we're going to be doing a Jamiroquai album.
Yes,
I think
indeed.
so. This one only got to number 65, but it was kind of a big indie tune in the indie clubs, and
Yeah,
that's right.
So,
Even,
Pixies.
no, that's the thing. This is the one that rips off the Pixies. This is Sugar.
Oh, yeah,
a good
yeah,
idea. Yeah, but I still think it's a really good tune. I love that album. That Copper Blue album was terrific.
Yeah,
full of big poppy indie songs, catchy indie songs.
That's one of those records where never had it, but still know it quite well because it was always in someone's car who I got a lot of lifts from.
I see. Yeah, and it's one of those ones that's like 10 or 11 songs, probably 45 minutes long. It's one of those kind of nice, snappy, don't outstay your welcome albums. One here that I haven't bothered looking up because it's not on Spotify, St. Etienne and Flowered Up. So two very kind of indie bands did the Fred EP, where they covered Right Said Fred songs.
Great.
Yeah. Only got to number 26.
I bet that was hilarious.
I bet it was. But the only other one then is this, only got to number 52, and it's Sonic Youth Against Fascism. And again, we talked about the album this was from. I love this single, and yeah, it only got to number 52, but that's absolutely fine for a Sonic Youth song. And the shit band that I was in school did a cover version of this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and my God, we were bad, but we had a lot of fun.
Well, fucking hell, mate. The cover that my first band did of Bullet in the Head was unrecognisable.
Fair enough. Eh? We've all got those little missteps in our band careers, I'm sure.
Well, nothing but, mate.
Dude, that would be an interesting Twitter thread for our followers. Like, if you can post a link to the worst thing that you've been involved with in a band, I'd be intrigued to hear some of the 90s stuff.
I am so glad that my follies my early follies in music predate everyone having a fucking camera on them all the time.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, well, indeed. But even MySpace, whenever that came through, everyone was putting their music on MySpace, and thankfully you didn't have to do any of that.
We missed MySpace by about a year from my last band, and I think we'd have done all right with MySpace. Final band, but
we should set up a MySpace profile for this podcast.
No, we should do.
There's one thing we're missing. Okay, well, there's your singles. There's some good stuff in that as well. I mean, nothing at all to talk about really in the actual chart, but a load of good stuff being released.
Fair dues, man. Fair dues. All right, well, I guess we're into the home straight of
the last third
of this record. Yes.
Right, well, we're starting at track 11 for this final bit, which is called Damn You. Awful. Just beyond awful.
See, I think this is big and beautiful, but again, it falls in that category of those of Prince tunes that don't really do loads for me. There are some really lovely little vocal moments in this song.
The bits when he says pimp rag, especially.
Oh, yeah, pimp rag is fucking great. But I mean, I've got nothing much to add to this. It's a pretty fucking song. Not my oeuvre at all, really.
Well, yeah, this is wine bar jazz after dinner cack, and I've got a note, and maybe I was just getting annoyed by this point, but I've said that I think this is the worst so far.
I mean, I don't think it's the worst song on the record. I think
it's the worst so far.
I think Sweet Baby is a worse song than that.
Oh, right.
Personally,
I find it very hard to differentiate between the two, but maybe it was because this is like, oh, fuck me, another one at this point.
But at the same time, I know that there are an entire subset of people that really love it when he does this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So, yeah, idiots, of course.
There you go. So then the outro for this song is the intro to Arrogance, which is the next song.
So we'll play Arrogance.
Yep.
Why are you so arrogant?
Sounds like almost a mat dance sound.
Look, man, my notes
what's happened here?
Yeah.
What?
My notes for this song is it's short, and I hope he really enjoyed making it.
Yeah. Oh, he's having a blast.
Yeah. It's a lot of manic discordant nonsense.
Yeah.
And it probably makes some context contextual sense in his opera thing that he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. I imagine it's long. It's only a minute and a half, so it's not a full song. It is something. Like, what is going on? It's absolutely mental.
Well,
it's like Les Claypool's come in and done a bass solo, and then he's got a bit of some not John Zorn's a bit far, but just someone to come in and go, can you fuck this up a bit more?
Well, it's like the bit on Tubular Bells, wasn't it? When it's like, this is the joke track.
Yeah,
and,
indeed.
yeah.
But no, to be honest, I don't mind this. I think this is all right because it's so mental.
I mean, I'll skip it.
I would skip many, many other songs before I skip this. I think this is all right.
So and this rolls straight into track 13, which is called The Flow.
Indeed, right.
And this is the one track on this album which was a reworked version of. This is the only one that came from the vault and wasn't specifically written for this project.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see. All right. Fair enough.
So look, I mean, the key thing about this is it really centres around another Tony M rap.
Yeah, Prince is hardly on this, vocally. Yeah.
So look, this to me feels like a live jam, right? I would accept this at a gig to facilitate a costume change.
Oh, I see.
But
yeah,
I don't
right.
get why you put it on a record.
Okay, it is. It's one for the band. Like, introducing the new part generation, Tony M. Here's his spot.
Prince is off getting a blowjob from a schoolgirl
Straight away.
and having a bottle of Evian, which is full of seawater.
Quite. I see. Yeah, no, it could well be along those lines. I can't find a hook in it again. And considering this is a very hip hop orientated track and it's just Tony M rapping, I find it strange that there's not a riff, a central thing that he's used to base the song on. It's just big old drums, which I'm all for, but I can't get my teeth into it. There's no real substance to it for me.
Yeah. Now, and I agree.
The flow is. I mean, obviously, it must be about period sex.
Yeah, I'd have thought so, yeah.
And I say that because he's got form for that. He obviously had the one about water sports while on the period Purple Rain.
Yeah,
he had that.
Of course, yeah.
He had that one about when you are left with a mark on your forehead after a 69, Raspberry Beret.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this is the third of the trilogy.
You realise that we picked up a load of fans last week from our frank conversations about mental health and loss. Yeah. And literally, we've just lost all of them with our jokes about paedophilia and fucking this.
Period.
Oh, fuck, I can't believe we're following that one up with this one.
I know. Mate, that really is the other side of the coin.
I'm ashamed of myself and you.
Well, that's fair.
So, yeah, look, even as a self-confessed apologist, this part of the album isn't really doing a great deal.
So far, not much, is there? No.
And it's like, well, 14, and the 14th track on an 18-track album,
yeah.
I mean, that can't be any good,
No,
can it?
You're assuming that you've got nothing left at this point. But yeah, so track 14 is 7.
Yeah.
And this was the third single. Released in December 92, got to number 27. And this was his most successful single from this album in the US. This was the big one that reached over there, but it only got to 27 over here.
Now, the interesting thing about this song, right, is this is not only one of my favourite Prince songs, this is one of my favourite songs.
Really?
I fucking love this song.
This is brilliant.
And do you know what? I don't think I ever realised that it was on this record.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Because I got into this song via the Hits record, which I just destroyed. I had that triple disc Hits record.
And that's going to be a stormer of a hit.
God, it's
Prince Greatest Hits is so good. Right. But yeah, this is a fucking belter of a tune.
The vocal production on this track, because the vocal production on this is gorgeous. There is so much going on. There are so many things, little fucking weird time stretches that I don't remember people doing time stretches on fucking vocal tracks and stuff. There's little bits and pieces here and there. Just the layer of the fucking harmony on it.
There's a lot of nice layering.
It's incredible. You got this But I tell you what, I did realise on a re-listen to this. Right, here's a good version of it. Right, you got that rolling beat sitting underneath.
Yep.
Right. And you got like these little fucking sword cuts and things like that in here, right?
Yeah.
This track, right? Not necessarily with the guitar, but if you take the vocal away from this track, this is almost a fucking RZA beat.
Oh, okay.
Like honestly, there are bits of this track and the way that it cuts with the simple sampled beat and the little kind of samples that he puts in there and the little cuts on there.
Yeah.
It's so close to some of the production on 36 Chambers.
Right.
A solid year before 36 Chambers comes out.
Right,
as well.
sure. Well, okay.
look, man, I don't know lyrically. I don't know what this song means.
Well, it's in terms of as part of the rock opera thing. This is about the 7 assassins who had killed.
I don't even want
the
that. I don't want anything to take away from how I feel about the song. Like I forgot. I genuinely wish this had been the first dance at my wedding.
Oh wow!
I really love, because like we went around circles trying to agree on something for quite a while, and I think if I'd have remembered this song, I think this would have been the fucking.
That would have been.
I fucking love this song.
Wow.
Man.
Okay.
I love this song, man. Like, I don't even like. I love this song so much that I don't mind when the bit of an Eastern feel comes in.
And it does as well.
And
Yeah,
it really does.
Well, the video is full of belly dancing and stuff. Like Maite doing her belly dancing stuff. It's also full of a lot of children dressed as belly dancers doing belly dancing, which is you wouldn't do that these days. But yeah, the Eastern feel is absolutely part of the whole thing. But it works brilliantly. This is a fucking stormer of a song.
Oh my god!
It's Head and Shoulders the best song on the album.
Oh, without a doubt.
And like you say, this is one of Prince's best songs for me. I'd say. I mean, I don't know as many as you do, but this is up there.
Why would you put this 14th on an 18-track album
And single number 3?
What an odd. I mean, this is such a good song, man. It just
Well, this is the thing for me. It's actually got a tune. It's got a real tune to it in the way. My favourite Prince songs are probably Alphabet Street, and Raspberry Beret. Those and Get Off.
Yeah,
Get Off. Not so much. It doesn't fit in so well with what I'm trying to say here because it's not a tune. But those ones are just brilliant songs and ones I go away and it's stuck in my head. And this is stuck in my head.
Yeah. But Get Off, I still got
Oh, it absolutely does. It's got the riff in it, for sure. But this has everything I want in a Prince song.
This has got everything I want in a song, really. I love this song dearly. And I kind of it really kind of took me by surprise, like to the point when I was first listening to this record and this song came on, I was like, oh, Spotify is the album must have finished, and now it's playing other songs.
Well, it doesn't fit in with this album.
Of course it doesn't.
No.
Right? There's not really a cohesive feel to this album.
No, because this reminds me of other songs as well, but I can't quite place them. It's just the sounds, some of the guitar bits, some of the beat. It reminds me of other things. Just funnily enough, one of them was Zoe, Sunshine on a Rainy Day.
Oh, nice.
Something in there reminds me of that.
I mean,
feel.
just to preempt it, right?
Yeah.
If the words cooler shaker come out your mouth, we're fighting. We're fighting.
That's Govinda. God, of course it was. Okay, well, look, we're at 14, track 14, the third single, and that's redeemed an awful lot for me because that is brilliant.
And I mean, we almost really should stop there, I think, but
quite.
We must continue.
No, there are a couple more to get through. So number 15,
and just to co-opt something, and yet they persisted.
Quite.
Fucking don't at me, girls, please.
We're not trying to claim it.
Oh my god, we're not. Anyway, right. So, and God created woman, which is. I've got an interesting note for the first bit of this. Let's listen to the intro.
Right.
My note says, this sounds like Phil Collins.
Phil Collins?
Listen. Think twice.
See, my note says it sounds like it was made in 1983 with a Sade tribute band covering Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, I mean...
Sappy rubbish.
It's there's not really... Again, I've written skip next to this one. It's okay. There's not enough to get my teeth into. There's not enough... and I say that from a point of view of being... There's nothing that I'm looking for that I'm finding in it. And like I say to you, I have listened to this record a lot of times to give... So, like stuff that... full disclosure, some of the stuff that I've been... I didn't like, I've liked more than you. I didn't like on first listen.
Oh, I see. Okay. But a few times in, gets under your skin sort of thing.
Right, so not much on that. So then next track is 3 Chains of Gold.
Right, so track 16. And my first note is, it's 6 minutes long, is it? Brilliant.
And that's just the start of it.
Well, this is such a... Because this is a title track for the film. Right, if you think of it as a soundtrack.
Well, I've written
this is all over the place.
I've written Kate Bush vibes.
Okay.
There's definitely a kind of a Kate Bushy kind of thing. And tonally, this is insane.
It's mad.
I mean, it's utterly gonzo, completely overblown.
Yeah. Within the first minute of this, he's just 5 different songs.
So much of this it's like something Queen would have like experimented with in the studio in the 70s and then gone, oh no, this is a bit much.
Yeah, exactly. When they were putting their Flash album, the soundtrack together, going, oh no, this is maybe a bit silly, isn't it? It's too silly.
Is this too camp?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's
mental.
Look, right, it's interesting if nothing else.
Fine.
Right?
Yes.
It's very long, I've written here.
Yes.
It kind of gives me a bit of a Brazil Terry Gilliam feel with some of the weird shitty spouting about his...
I mean, God only knows what he's trying to say in this.
I mean, look, this album is fucking nuts, right? It is. Like, no matter how much I like bits of it, right? It is a bizarre piece of work as a record.
Indeed it is.
And this is it at its most
bizarre.
This
is peak bizarre. Yeah. It's all been building towards this mentalness.
Yeah, this is like, you know, add water to this and you've got like Ribena flavoured weirdness.
Yeah.
You know.
I've got to know, like, at this point I'm wondering if he's taking the piss. You know, is he going, wonder what I can get away with? I've seen some really bad off-Broadway musicals, and I wonder if I pretended to write a song for one of them, what would it sound like? And this is what's happened. One bit I do like in this, there's a guitar solo in the middle, which is kind of fun, because the boy can play guitar, and when he's doing this ridiculous rock opera stuff, which is what this song is, what else are you going to do except have a fucking out there guitar solo? So he does.
Oh, yeah.
And there's melodrama for the last 2 whole minutes of this song, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy.
The thing that this kind of reminds me most of, weirdly, is that... Remember that? I think we ended up putting it on the playlist, that really weird Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah, absolutely. That was fucking out there as well.
Like, I mean, this is nuts. This belongs on like a fucking Mike Oldfield record or something. It's odd prog nonsense.
This is the sort of thing that you'd expect to come up in a Vault release, and you go, fucking hell, I'm not surprised this never made it onto a record.
Yeah.
But no, there you go. This is the title track for the soundtrack.
Exactly.
3 Chains of Gold.
I mean, on a record that is arguably at least half an hour too long, it's a bold move.
It really is.
It really is.
Yep.
So then we go into Segue 2.
Yeah, which is, again, Kirstie Alley as the reporter. It's just another bit of kind of plot.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got a 1-word note on this, and it just says nonsense.
Oh, total nonsense. But this is the bit where the reporter is saying, well, what about the princess being 16 years old? Is that true? And so he's just letting you know it's all out there.
He's doubling down on the fact that, I mean, how old's Prince at this point? In mid-30s?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just a kind of a little bit of nothingness at track 17. Then the final track, number 18, is The Sacrifice of Victor.
What is sacrifice? With sacrifice. NPG and Mass Attack.
Okay. So this is a big discanting screed on racism and other topics.
Yes.
It's a little bit funky.
Yeah, well,
incredibly unfocused.
It's elements of Get Off, which I like.
Yep.
But it just reminds me about Get Off rather than makes me like this.
Yeah. And look, this whole track is essentially a big outro, right? Which is a suitably self-indulgent way to end this record.
Yeah.
But there's never a situation, I can't imagine, where you're going to go, do you know what I'm going to put on? I'm going to put on Sacrifice of Victor.
No, absolutely not. No, and especially for me at this point, the last song on the album, and I listened to this a few times as well, and by every time I was going, all right, at least it's nearly over. That was all I was getting. I don't think there's anything to this tune. I don't think, in terms of the subject matter, okay, some bits of it, of course, fine, I agree with what you're saying, but all it's doing is just going on and on without any real balls to it. Right. But there you go, 18 tracks.
Okay, so now we will sum up the record at this point, right? Okay, now what I'm gonna try and do for a second, right, is I'm gonna step outside of myself, and I'm gonna tell you, right, as the guy who normally sits on Pop Collaborator Listen and reviews albums, that like this to me is a very self-indulgent, overblown, record that needed editing throughout and has absolute moments of genius on it.
Okay, sure,
Right?
yep.
That's where I am with
that
it.
Sounds nice and objective.
As a fucking album, you know, I don't think this is a successful album as an objective fan of pop music, as a pop record or whatever, right? That's where I am with that.
Fine.
Where I am as me is I really enjoyed going through this record. It's got moments that I have to fucking apologise for, but I'm going to continue to listen to this album as a whole.
Really, you are you very happy that you this was one we did?
Yeah,
you
and I'm
enjoyed it.
probably gonna, you know, when it gets to the time on my ongoing. Rebuy of all Prince's albums on vinyl.
Sure.
Will I skip this? No. Will I fuck?
Really?
I'll listen to this and I'll listen to it on vinyl sometimes.
Nice.
I will. Is it the best fucking thing in the world? No. Is there enough on it that really annoys me to take me out of my day whilst it plays in the background? No.
Okay.
So that's where I am.
Okay.
I think I know where you are, but please do tell us.
I think there are 2 songs on here that I really quite enjoy.
Yep.
And I think the rest is either average or awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's more awful than is allowable on a record.
I understand and can completely see that point of view.
I will never go back to this album.
I know.
Absolutely
I know.
Never.
I wouldn't expect you to, unless you spent several years immersed in the other records and went back to it. And seeing as I know that, you know, you're not really like a fan of an indulgent album, you're less inclined to give these things a break than I am.
Very true.
I can't argue with you.
Yeah. No.
I don't necessarily agree with you.
No, we got very different things out of this. I'm very happy that you had such a good time.
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad time, but I came out going, yeah, that's not even close to what I want.
And to be clear, right, if I was trying to go to you like a singles fan going, do you know what, Prince albums actually are a thing of great beauty, this is not the one
You
I
wouldn't
would fucking
present
choose.
that. No, absolutely not. I will put one of these songs onto a playlist and never think of it again.
But if you're listening to this record, you haven't listened to this album for a long while, you are a fan of Prince, you're a fan of Prince albums, I would recommend going and have a listen to this. You might want to have your skip button ready.
Sure.
But, I would dig out more than some of the singles to say just things that I liked in this. But there we go. So, playlist.
I mean, my default position would be there's one obvious one and no other obvious ones. So I think we both agree 7 is going on.
Yeah.
That's given. Do you want to put another one on?
If we were going to find consensus on another one, it'd be My Name is Prince.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. The album really, objectively, by our standards, is probably a one-track album. But My Name is Prince is a fucking good song. But this is the question: is what is the purpose of the playlist?
Right.
Is it to showcase the highlights of the record? Is it to give you a feel of it? Is it for when you're listening to the playlist, good songs come on and you get into them? Because I think for the majority of those, we make a case for putting My Name is Prince on.
Right.
If we want to showcase a different side of Prince that singles listeners haven't got, I don't think we'd be able to agree on one.
No. Well, there's no other one I want to put on there at all.
Sure.
I would say it's more about these are the best songs off these albums. We're cherry picking.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm happy with. So we're going to just go with 7.
I would just go with 7.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think that's enough because it's so good.
I would, given my druthers, add My Name is Prince and probably Morning Papers, or quite possibly Love to the Nines as well. I really like Love to the Nines.
Right.
And possibly the Max.
The Max, fucking hell. And Blue Light for some reggae.
And no, I wouldn't. I'd stop short of that. But I Want to Melt With You as well. I'd fucking consider.
Wow, you've got a lot more love for this album.
I Want to Melt With You. Actually, if it was like, okay, put a second track on here that just represents, I'd put that on because that's the most. Wow. I think that's the most interesting one in a lot of reasons. In a lot of ways. Anyway, so there we go. So that's it, guys. We'll be back next week with a special episode on Rage Against the Machine's debut self-titled album.
Yes, indeed. That's going to be good fun. We're going to have a good time with that one, I think.
I think we are. Yeah. So thank you so much for listening, and get in touch via social media. Let us know what you thought, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys. Bye. Thank you for checking out this episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. It was produced and edited by us, for which we can only apologise. We are on Twitter at PCL Podcast, on Instagram also at PCL Podcast, and facebook.com/PCL Podcast. All of these, plus links to our various Spotify playlists, etc., are on our website, which is pclpodcast.com. Please feel free to get in contact via any of the social media or on pclmusicpodcast@gmail.com.